Gathered friends, it's a privilege to have your company as always. I'm Chris Nell, and welcome to the Apex Predator, helping you meld into the mind, as is the show's motto, of becoming an unbreakable mind, an unstoppable force, an untamed spirit, and ultimately becoming your very own army of one. Now, as is the token of this show, I present to you with a little bit of an opener. And it's quite simple. I know I've presented some far-fetched premise, or I've just used far too many big words, but this premise is as simple as follows, which is simply, no one has power over another. And agree with me, it's become commonplace in the zeitgeist of the great unwashed. From keyboard warriors, social justice warriors, unscrupulous corrupt businessmen, not all of them, excluding the company that you see here before me, and God forbid, fire and brimstone preachers who have this notion of do as I say, not as I act, because why, they think to themselves they have the power. But in starker contrast to that, it would be James Madison, the father of the Constitution, who said it best, that if men truly were angels, there would be no need for government. Power has great responsibility, that old tagline by Jack Kirby of the Spider-Man comic books. And as a result, I think the greatest form of power is the kind of power you use to uplift and empower one another, even if real power exhibits itself in the form of humility by saying those three words that is the most difficult in the human language: I am sorry. And true humility is often documenting past experiences. Why? To advise as well as to warn the next generation of past dangers. Thus, I bring my guest here before me, back for a return visit. He was on the show when the show was still having a cuppa. Brent Wright has worn many hats. He has fought in mixed martial arts, currently an ultra marathoner. He's a business owner along with his partner in crime who joins us as well. He's also made his mark as a motivational speaker and storyteller, but he's also a proud husband. And now he adds author to his many titles under his belt. Rachel has also joined him for a special edition on this episode, who's his partner in crime, both in their business. Absolutely right. Fantastic, phenomenal work that they do. Through our conversation, we're going to talk about the challenges, living faith, and marriage, three topics of which there's many, which he expounds about on his various talks that he gives, as well as we're going to be discussing his book called Consumed, Addiction's Appetite, which has been released this month and is doing very well, as I'm led to understand. Brent, it's been 3 years, Bubba. Welcome. And Rachel, great to see you too.
You as well.
Great to see you, brother.
Been a long time. You've gotten younger. What's your secret?
I don't know. Running.
Now the
Shaving. I don't know.
Okay, all right. I'll give you that much. You don't have to tell me. You and I can share it for a fee. With all the hats that you've currently worn, and you've walked a certain mile, tell me about how it had come that you would be decided to write your first book.
Actually, the thought of writing that came years ago. Really, in early recovery. I started writing it around my first year of sobriety, and then I put it away. I had it on a flash drive, and I put it in the drawer, and I never picked it back up. It wasn't until a few years ago I started it again, fresh from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that just after all those years of like trying to help people and all that, it kind of burned inside that I needed to go ahead and go for it again.
It's funny
So
how that works, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then, I started it, and I had written around 14,000 words. We were actually on vacation in Miami, and I was writing about when I was in Miami, in my drug life.
Mm.
Uh, and we came back and I didn't continue writing it. Like I put it back again. And I kind of was like, I don't know that I'm going to finish the book, honestly, um, because our lives were established and we had a business going, and I was still helping people when anyone would reach out, but um, I didn't have the desire to put in that work, because I was working on everything else. It wasn't until I got a call from someone that they wanted me to come speak for a bunch of leadership kids in our town, at a big local high school. And so I had just told her that I wasn't going to speak anymore, about a week before that. And then I get this call to do it. So I answer the call. I go and I talk to the kids, and they inspired me to pick my book back up. And I set 100-day goal right then to
100
finish it
days.
in 100 days. I wasn't playing. And
No, you aren't.
and that's exactly what I did. I went back to work on it, and it had 14,000 words at the time, and I finished the entire rest of it in the next 100 days. The rough draft. I made it happen.
Preparing for this podcast, I want to share, and it adds it's a sort of an add-on. Jocko Willink spoke about when he started writing his very first book, and it was a question of when you have that idea in the back of your mind, like you've mentioned, it will fester and fester and fester. So the whole point of the exercise is to start doing it from the beginning to the end, no matter how difficult it is. I do writing
Yes.
myself, I write proposals, and it's a schlep of a task. A schlep. And I'm assuming you're like me, a perfectionist in this regard, that you start writing, but then you also start to edit as well because you want it to be all prim and proper and perfect and packaged. But at the end of the day, you're going to sit with a bunch of
Nothing.
nonsense. But the fact is, at least you've gotten the task done, and then only you can perfect the form afterwards. It's a humbling lesson, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and honestly, I was listening to a book while I was out running, an audio book on how to write your first book, and they said just write it. Don't edit it, just get it on the paper. So in reality, she's the reason that it became great.
I'm
My
struggling to wrap my head around the fact that you had to listen to an audiobook on how to write a book because you're a storyteller.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't believe you one moment. You are busy pulling the wool over my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I know you are, but yeah, that's true story. And um, if I didn't just write it and did that part of it, you're right. I wouldn't have gotten it done. And so Rachel was the key of the editing. Once I had the draft down, I handed it to her,
Hmm?
who's way smarter than me. And
I
I
doubt
have
it.
all I have all the street knowledge of what's in the book,
Hmm?
and she has the 4.0 GPA, not me.
Let it be made known, I remain neutral in this.
He
Now,
gives me too much credit.
Nah.
well, that is the perfect segue because, Rachel, you edited this book from cover to cover.
Yes.
It must have truly been an experience to read about his past, all the dirty details and such, if I could put it in such crude wording. What were you thinking at the time when you started going through the rough manuscript?
Oh, good question. Well, I mean, we met in December of 2013, and on our first date, I remember vividly sitting at dinner and him just spewing his guts, like all of it. Day one, not 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 holding back his past, how that affected his present, how he chooses to make decisions,
Right.
where he decides to go, who he decides to be around. So I have to say, from day one, literally,
Hmm.
he has never chosen to hide his past from me and has been very open. And I find that refreshing. Like at first it was quite shocking.
I can well imagine, because that's the one thing dating coaches advise you don't do on the first date:
Yes,
to spill
yes.
your
Well,
guts. But
I'm
honesty is the best policy.
I'm not, yes, I agree. I agree. And I think too few people try to put on a facade of who they really are. And then later you find out the reality. And when it doesn't match, then you're dealt to uh, deal with the difference. So I have to say, there was a lot of it in the book that I had already been aware of. However, there was a lot I had not as well. And
I've been in trouble for a while, Chris.
I feel you.
no, it's not that. I
The
would
struggle is
say,
real, my man. I know. The struggle is real.
um, so I have to say, they're again very vivid in my mind. I was probably how far in?
Probably about uh maybe
It's really
less than
it yeah,
halfway
it
into
really
it.
doesn't matter.
It
Anyways,
gets raw quick.
Oh, we'll get into that. We'll get into that,
yeah,
because it does get, like, Susan, gnarly,
yeah.
as in gnarly.
So I recall in reading and editing a certain point where I was struggling with not just reading the content, but knowing that it would be presented for all who choose to read his book to know as well. And we sat in the parking lot of a gas station and had a heart to heart that
We
involved
didn't get gas.
Okay, that's good to know.
no,
But you did
and
get value for money, nevertheless.
it involved a few tears and some consolation candy, I think.
Yeah.
But
Consolation candy. I'm going to make a note of that.
hey, it's a good pick me up when you need one.
Oh yeah.
Um,
When in doubt,
but
the sweet tooth.
the the rawness of it is what makes it what it is.
Right,
Um,
certainly.
so our conversation was you realize most people try to hide the darkest, dirtiest, deepest things about themselves for
Sure.
all to know. And here you are putting them on display for all to see. And as your wife, like that's kind of a difficult thing. It's not just your baggage, but then it's, everyone knowing those
Mm,
things about my husband. Um, and it's not that there is any shame in that. I've never like that's not the proper emotion, I think, to put on that. It's
vulnerability?
just I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's that process of laying it all out and then seeing how people respond. Um and honestly, I don't care. So I
Mm,
don't really know why that was so difficult. I don't care if that chooses like people will do with the knowledge what they choose to do.
mm,
Um,
mm.
and the intent of it is to help and inform. And if that's not what they get and they choose to respond in a way that's judgmental or anything along that vein, then that's theirs to carry, not mine. Um, but anyways, that conversation was good, and I realized that it's not about me. It's not about him. It's about the mission and the goal of what the book is aiming to do.
Mm,
And
mm,
so the only way to accomplish that is to be real and leave
absolutely.
it in the voice that it is. So
So, in shorthand, if plan A doesn't work, revert to plan B, which is actually plan A, but with an element of panic involved. Keep that in mind.
yes.
B, she touched on something which I think is apropos, and I know what your answer is going to be, but let's just do it for the have-nots out there. Everyone
Mhm.
has something to say about everyone, be it pop culture. I'm sure you guys know about the fracas going on with Sydney Sweeney and that American Eagle ad and whatnot. Um, have you prepared in the back of your mind for the unlikely event that when the book has been published, that there could be some measure of pushback?
Yeah, definitely. My life has been pushed back
Hmm,
since the beginning of my sobriety.
preaching to the
You know,
converted.
basically, when I got clean, I I'm a miracle,
Hmm,
period.
absolutely.
To go from what I was to completely quitting all of that and changing my entire life and
Hmm,
rebuilding from nothing, from hell, I put that out online in the beginning of my sobriety, and I never thought about the pushback so much because I was being arrested, off and on and doing crazy shit all the time, and people were already talking about me in a derogatory way, and so not to my face, but
uh,
behind my back and all that. Well, when I got clean, I felt like, "Hey, I'm doing something great," you know? What I mean, if you wanna say something bad about trying to be a better person, then go to hell. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. But let me add another edge to it. And you're a better person than I for this because that's the difference between separating the men from the boys. It was said unto me by a good mentor of mine that if people say anything about you behind your back, good or bad, cheer because it means that you're important to them. Even if you are the most unpopular being on the face of this earth, cheer because it means that you're the first thing that they think about when they wake up and you're the last thing they think about when they go to bed. But when they
Right.
don't start, when they stop talking about you altogether, then you start to worry because then it means you're a null on the, not on the contract.
Right.
Rach, a little anthropology with you now. I'm led to understand you studied visual arts. You and I share experience in that. You originally wanted to go into photography, and then you hit the jackpot by marrying him. Entering the business world truly must have been a gear shift for you and just something challenging and ultimately rewarding, right?
Yeah, I mean, to this day, art is still my love. I
Right?
studied painting and photography.
Oh,
Um,
I thought you studied media. Okay, mistake on
no,
my part.
no, it's fine. I majored in painting and
Nice.
to college and was doing that. I was fortunate to do a summer in Ireland for photography.
Wow.
After that summer, then I added the double major of photography. So painting and photography were my focuses. But life life just happens and takes you in different directions than you plan. Um, so so you adapt. But I have not I've not ever lost that love.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
you just find different ways to express it or know that it's just not the time right now. So starting our business in 2016 in the cleaning industry was nothing I ever imagined. But what I love about being a business owner is freedom and
Sure.
independence. So, regardless of it being the career field that I ever imagined, um, it provides something that ultimately I love more than like clocking in to a 9 to 5.
Mm,
So it has its benefits, and who knows what the future holds for bringing the art back into the fold. So,
absolutely. You know, I can put myself in your shoes as well. I thought I was going to spin records for the rest of my life. It's what I enjoyed to do. I love to talk. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is you ultimately have to get out of your own way and get out of your own comfort zone and open your mind to possibilities unseen, because that's what I ultimately experienced. And I wanted to ask, B, were you always a tradesman? Were you always working with your hands?
No,
Not at all.
not always. No, actually, my parents owned a carpet cleaning and janitorial business
Oh,
as I grew up, and I hated it. Like I didn't ever want to work in it. It
okay.
wasn't my thing. But when I was 19, I moved to Indianapolis after basically leaving college after 1 year. All of that's
Okay.
in the book. You know,
Right.
um, I went and got a carpet cleaning job because I needed to make money. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
honest
And I
work.
had other
Honest
jobs.
work.
I uh, I worked at Domino's Pizza for 30 minutes and quit.
Been there too. Been there too. The food and beverage industry is the pits.
No, they made me wear that stupid hat.
And you have that silly little jingle that you have to say every time with all the
Oh
customers.
no. Hell no.
I get you. I get you. Again, the struggle is real.
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah. So, I sold ti I was a timeshare salesman
Oh
for a
no.
couple of years. I was one of those.
Oh no. Ah,
Yeah. Oh,
ah,
I was. And then I managed I mean, man, I had more jobs.
ah, ah.
Um, but no, no, I've been to so many colleges.
Still no degree.
Yeah, I don't have a degree,
No, you know what?
but
Let's
hey,
change
I'm an
that.
author.
I wanted to say you're an author, but
Yes.
you're still a student of the University of Life.
There we go.
Well, yeah, I have my master's in that.
Doctorate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on a serious note, um, what I loved about the business side was the freedom and owning my like I'm a born entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That was always inside. It was the drugs and the drinking that prevented me from doing that. So when we started, I worked for my mom and dad for 18 years.
Hmm.
Um, and when we started our company, um, I knew that we could make it go, because I was clean. Like I'd been clean for several years,
So you
you
started the
know.
business after you got sober, right?
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. So I was already 6 years clean,
Wow. Okay.
almost.
So there was a good running time. Great.
Yeah, yeah. You can't do anything when you're wrecked, you know.
No.
So,
Well,
uh, but really, I wear different hats. Like I can go to a business meeting, with anybody. I don't care who it is.
Mm.
And I can also grind it out with people that don't have a job, or they have nothing, or I'm a lover of all kinds of people,
Mm.
black, white, it doesn't matter to me. Everybody's the same. I treat them the same until they give me a reason not to, and then I give them what they need or deserve, I guess.
Well, I
Well,
love people too. It's because I'm paid to love them. until I
well,
until I can hate them in my off hours. Because I tell you,
right,
Yeah.
people today, they've got the house on the hill, they've got the fancy car on the driveway, but they've got an IQ of -2, and you have to feed them everything like baby food.
right. Well, we deal with that too,
Oh boy.
C'est la vie.
and
That's my
yeah,
attitude.
I got you.
Honestly. Ay, ay, ay. But guys, it's evident to me that as outgoing as you two are, let's talk a little bit deep here. You guys have never shied away from the concept of faith playing an important role in your life. Do you think it's because of God that you both can maintain the variety of avenues you concern yourselves with, that it's a calling on your life to be so multi-hyphenate?
No doubt.
Yes, 100%.
1000%.
Every every inch of our beings is that.
And I
Yeah,
wish I would have brought this up earlier in the previous interview that we did, I must admit.
Yeah.
I don't think there no matter what it is, whether it's training, your job, choosing to do a diet, there's a mental capacity to all of that where your motivation is going to end.
I'm at that point, yeah.
And
Snap out of it.
you have to
Thank you, I needed
that
that.
that that extra that will drive you to push past that and keep going,
Mm,
to
mm,
me, is only found in your commitment to God and his strength beyond your own.
mm.
um, and if you do feel that what you're doing is a calling higher than yourself, then to fail that or to not act on it, then it doesn't just affect you anymore. You're
True.
choosing to say no to potentially impacting somebody else's life, and that's a
Absolutely.
far greater responsibility.
Mm. I hear you talk about this. There's a great book, and if you haven't read it yourself, I highly recommend it. It's called Wild at Heart by the author John Eldridge.
Mhm.
It's mostly aimed at men, but it's been adapted for couples as well, courtesy of his wife joining in. Um, Whenever you partake in a outdoorsy activity or an extreme activity, as he lays it out in the book, why do we tend to do that? Because of ego? Maybe. Is it because of the fact that we want to prove something to ourselves? Probably. But the one aspect that we don't think about, we as men have this edge in our very hearts that needs to be satisfied. And that edge, and I'm going to say it and it's going to be controversial, a need for violence. But it's the heart inside of us
Yeah.
that's pumping. And we need to satisfy that violence, whether you do pull ups or me going running and da 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 da. It's satisfying
Mm.
that edge, and we are chasing after our own hearts. Isn't that a beautiful edge to think about, eh? Or a beautiful point to think about?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true. Definitely. That's why I love the martial arts.
Do you still do it?
Um, not like I did.
Oh, I see.
No. And I mean, as far as, I might go out and beat on the heavy bag or whatever, and
Hmm?
stay active like that, but to actually go to a class and, for belt promotions, I don't have the time,
Sure.
nor really the my desire and my growth is in running long distances,
Sure.
and
Sure.
that's where I out in the woods by myself, that's where my um, greatest or worst thoughts come.
Mm, I'm with you there.
On my- yeah, and I can't outrun myself, so
Sure.
to
Sure.
speak. And I can always improve that, and I'm always trying to be better at running or whatever it is,
Mm,
but to me,
mm,
that's my greatest challenges, and that's where I rely on God the most sometimes,
absolutely.
I especially in ultra races.
Well, I mean, you are going to ask for prayer and guidance when you are literally like 10 kilometers down the road, huffing and heaving. Your muscles are aching and you're about to keel over. And you're like, Lord, please give me strength because if I'm going to keel over now, an ambulance is going to have to take me and I'm going to have to pay all that medical bills. Please don't put me through that drama. We all need that amount of faith. But I have
Yes.
to, I have to admit as well, I grew up in a dual Protestant Baptist upbringing. My father was a Baptist. My mother was received a Protestant upbringing. But in Southern Africa's culture wars, there's this constant divide of you need to be according to this denomination or that school of thought. But the question is, I know who the Lord is who came and died for me, and that surpasses denomination. All that I know is I've got a job to do, and I have to own up to the fact that because he died for me, there's even a Bible passage dedicated to it. When much is entrusted to, much will be expected from, and I believe that is directly from Psalms. And that's where my head's at. It's not about me anymore. It's about the bigger picture, bigger than me, and you guys have alluded to that as well. But it doesn't it doesn't conform, I should say, in the realms of a denomination. It's your vision that is implanted in your heart and the relationship that you have with a loving Father. That's all that counts at the end of the day, and the results will speak for themselves.
That's
Agreed.
right.
Now, be back to you. You pulled me out of that slump there. Thank you for that. I
You're
saw.
welcome.
If it were that easy.
Rub it in, won't you? Rub it in. I saw a snippet of you on Facebook. It wasn't that recent one that you did with the marketing of the book. You were giving a speech at a school, and it was
Mhm.
literally at the tail end. And at one point, you haunched down, and I believe you asked them if the thought of ever wanting to try or to use trying ever crosses your mind. Remember my face. Need I say, you put the fear of God in me right then and there. Do you want to tell people that, or my question that I phrased it here, do you want people to have that warning when they read your book ultimately? That fear of God in them?
Oh, totally. Yep, they will.
And that
I
sounds
mean, my own mom was like, "This book is scary.
it is
It it's
frightening.
scary." And she lived through it with me, but she didn't know, just like Rachel didn't know the extent. I mean,
Right.
and because it's so, I wrote it to the to my thoughts and the craziness and um, what different drugs did to me, and the alcohol and the violence and the fights and the sex and the prostitutes and all the shit that it was. It's all there, and the end, I get clean, and that's beautiful.
Mm.
You're not. I want people that are somebody that doesn't know about drugs or alcohol or never had a problem with it, but they're like a mom or dad that their kids, in it, I mean, it ranges from age 13 to 35. So there's a stage of life in all of that for everybody to actually learn from.
Mm.
And that's what's good about it. They'll be able to see warning signs if you look deeper than just the story, the crazy shit that's you're reading about at the time. But if you can actually read between the lines, you will learn this is what happened at this point. And my kid is doing that. Like, my kid is not an athlete any longer, and or they're quitting this, or now they're going from job to job in their 20s. They are at Domino's 30 minutes, and they don't give a shit about this. And they're going here and doing this, and they're not coming to family gatherings
You're right.
because they all of it. It's
Absolutely.
so that's yeah.
It's one big warning sign.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad that you have done that, because I set this back on having a cuppa in numerous times that I could say it in my sleep. You have doctors and specialists and influencers giving you all sorts of this medical jargon of what not to do and what to do, to look out for the warning signs and blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing wrong with having all that knowledge. We were poking fun earlier of Rachel being a college graduate, you being qualified by experience. I showed you that experience there. But
Yeah.
combining the two, that makes you the ultimate weapon. And I think that with your book, giving them an experience taste of what you had gone through and the choices that you made and the consequences that you went through,
Right.
it doesn't get a lot more simpler than that. So you've actually trimmed the fat off the meat, in other
Right.
words.
Yes.
And that takes an awful amount of courage, I dare say. I'm not pumping your tires saying that. It takes a hell of a lot of courage. And I think you can give yourself a big tap on the shoulder for that.
Thank you, brother.
Nah,
I
good.
mean, I really appreciate that.
Let's
Seriously.
let's just
Um,
repeat for reference sake. The book is called Consumed Addiction's Appetite. It was released at the beginning of August, now available on Amazon.com. Grab your copy. And plus also as well, please tell me there's an audiobook coming.
yes, I'm going to record that in September.
Fantastic stuff. Now, back
Yep.
to you. Shane, we're leaving Rach out here a little bit. You yourself have begun to get out of your comfort zone as well, not just with business, but also joining your hubby in crime with your athletic feats. Do you purely want to do it to just test yourself, to expand your boundaries, or do you also want to influence other people as well? Maybe some of the female crowds? What's your mission statement
Uh,
there?
I would say the mission is for myself. I want to know my own limits, and
Yeah.
I find it satisfying to take something on that you don't think that you'll be capable of completing.
Right.
Initially, if it doesn't scare you, and he says this to me all the time, if it doesn't scare you and you aren't questioning whether or not you're going to be able to complete it or not, then you're not aiming high enough.
Yeah.
So I I find great gratification in selecting whatever that challenge is and then putting in the hard work to prepare for it, and then
Mm.
testing and really seeing if you've got what it takes to complete. And it's great when you do, and then you can move on and say, all right, well, now what? If I'm capable of doing that I thought I was scared of, then what is it that I can accomplish even greater than that if I put in the hard work and effort to do so. And I think really just sharing that online has been a byproduct of saying, you know what, if I have that mentality, I know so many other people do as well, certainly females. I think, I mean, males too, but um, that you don't give yourself enough credit for what you're capable. Your body will do a lot more than you ever give it credit for. It's your mind that you have to fight to battle to say, no, I can do that. Like my body will do a lot more. My mind will quit before my body ever will. So I
I
think
agree
it's
with
just
you.
the encouragement to just start small, even, and just commit. I'm currently, he's inspired me to do my own little challenge. So I set to do push-ups, and I said, okay, starting May 5th, I'm going to do 33 push-ups a day. And I can break them up however I want to, but I'm going to do them every single day. So I did. And then I got to June, and you look at your totals and you're like, you know what? Those 33 are coming a lot easier, and add 5.
Mm.
So now I do 38. And then the month after came, and I'm going to add 5 more. And um, it's just a beautiful thing to commit. And then I have my alarm set at 9 o'clock every night. That is a reminder. Have you done your push-ups today? So that if in the busyness of the day, come
Mm.
9 o'clock, before my head hits the pillow, if I've not done my push-ups, I'm gonna drop and knock them out.
I don't dare say anything, Chris. I'm already in trouble.
I also didn't say one thing. I'm just agreeing. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Fantastic, dear. At least I'm not sleeping in the doghouse tonight, dear.
If I say, "Did you do your push-ups?" I get the
No.
look from hell.
Well, I'm gonna rub salt in your wounds, and you deserve it. You're the one who got me into pull-ups, you bugger.
There we
I love it.
There sits my my pull-up bar. It's there on the door frame every given day, and I've even got my
Yes,
mother to start doing pull-ups, and she's 63, mind you.
I love
go.
it.
Wonderful.
How many are you doing?
I'm
What's
doing
your challenge?
I'm doing 12 just to start off with because I didn't have very good upper body strength.
That's
Um,
awesome.
That's awesome.
but yeah, much like with what you did, and occurred after you had appeared on WRTV when that new special came out.
Yeah,
I also wanted to get out of my comfort zone, and I've never done a pull up before in my life. I never even, that jungle gym monkey bar things that you did as a child. I never even did
yeah,
that. So again, sounding like a broken record, I just did it to get out of my own comfort zone.
yes,
Um, and I enjoy the experience. And let's see where it goes to from here. I'm not setting goals for myself because, and you'll like the wording because I'm sure this is your mindset as well. I want to remain addicted to humility. I don't want to do something and then say I'm the master of many. I will never be that. I'm just,
right.
how does that old Shakespearean quote go? Jack of all trades, master of none, but a master of none is better than a master of one. So that's where my head's at. Just keep on growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and see what happens. But it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
enjoyable. And I find that my pull ups also improve my runs.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, speaking of
Well,
being
good
addicted,
job.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, mate.
No,
No,
no.
good job. I love it.
I think the goals sometimes are not so much about, oh, hey, I've accomplished this. It's more of like a built-in accountability, I think,
Yeah. Because if you don't do it, you
me.
feel like crap.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, to me, it's all momentum.
Yeah.
Writing momentum. You know, like I've been writing my second book,
Yeah, I was going
and
to get to that.
I started it a year ago, and this morning I wrote for 3 hours, and I finished the last. I've got one more chapter to write, and it'll be done. Back to
Fantastic.
her. But
Are you paying her overtime
the
for this?
It doesn't work like that. I've tried to call off work before for the cleaning business, and I don't get a free pass.
well, on a
Oy,
serious
oy, oy.
note, man, just momentum.
Yeah.
Like and I mean, I set those challenges for accountability to because if you're just going and about your life and, oh, I'm going to do this today, and tomorrow, say I'm going to do um, a hit workout today. Maybe in 3 days, I'll go run 2 miles, then maybe lift a day. There's no especially if you haven't done it for a long time, there's no reason. That's when you start skipping.
Mm.
You start skipping days and, well, this came up. No, there ain't nothing. I don't care what I do. I do 101 pull-ups and 275 push-ups, and then I do everything else that I have to do.
Mm.
Those are staples in my day because I made them that way, because they suck and I hate it, and it makes me a better man to do it.
And it keeps one humble, whether it be you, me. It just keeps you humble,
It
continuously getting
does.
outside of your comfort zone.
Right. Like it's humbling all the time when I get on that pull-up bar and I'm tired and I don't want to do it because I'm sick of pull-ups and I'm
Mm.
sick of push-ups and I'm sick of running and I'm sick of riding and I'm sick of all the shit that I do all the time. I do it because you only got one time to live and to right be the best I can be for my wife and for me.
Did you hear that?
Oh, I did.
I was talking to the viewer or the listener. Did you hear that? I hope you took notes. Well said. In fact, I have to give you an applause right there, mate, because I don't believe anyone else could have said it better than that. It reminded me of Sylvester Stallone, who spoke of learning how to write a screenplay. And writing is not easy. I can speak from experience because I do it all the time. Because you always think that you can do better, but then you want to procrastinate, and that is the origin of procrastinating. You know you're struggling, and you want to do something that's easier. And
Right.
Stallone would sit in the look at himself in the mirror, and then he would insult himself and say, "You
Yeah.
this, that, the other. You
Yeah.
sit in front of that desk and you write the best words that you can write."
Right.
You have to force yourself. You have to force
You,
yourself. And that's the
yeah.
origin of suffering. You have to put yourself in that uncomfortable situation day in and day out. And if I could add my own little 2 cents into this, and this is not trying to be loquacious or for that fact salacious, but the moment that you've done that hard work and you start to reap the rewards, that experience of earning that reward, it just feels so much more better. But then you long for that suffering again, don't you?
Oh yeah, it doesn't stop. Immediately I'm on to the next.
I'm not exaggerating, Chris. He will complete an ultramarathon. No, not even. Let me back up. He will go to pick up his bib for the race, see all the booths for all the other sufferfests that he could take part in. And he is getting online and looking to sign up for the next one before he's even started the one that he's running tomorrow. So it's not the window of bathing in the glory of your completion. I swear it just keeps getting smaller and smaller.
But we're
I,
chasing after our own heart, Rachel. You need to understand this runs deep within us, men.
well, I think I can pat myself on the back in the fact that I have learned to adapt to that much better than I did originally.
Yeah,
Sure.
she's grown a lot. Definitely.
But my mentality when he wanted to do his first ultra was, why don't you just sign up for another marathon? Like, just do the marathon again and see if you can
Mm.
do a better time. But that doesn't, he had done that. In his mind, he had done that already, checked that off, and he needed to reach for the next hardest thing.
Mm. Mm.
And my mind didn't understand that. And I think a lot of it was just in protection, like my fear of his safety and
Mm,
time and all
certainly.
of that. I understand it now. I just accept it for what it is.
Well, that was exactly what my mother did when I signed up for my first marathon. She didn't have a choice. She just had to stand at the finish line. It was me that was doing the running.
Yeah.
So it was more of a fact of she had to check, was my medical aid card still valid? Did I have my tetanus shot? The whole spiel. And all I could see was that poor woman standing there just praying, hoping that I could make it to the finish line because I was the kind of person who would always bail out halfway. And then she saw me run to the finish line. She was like, "Oh, thank goodness, I've
Yeah.
I've raised a winner." Really?
Yeah.
And but in any
How,
event, tell me something. Now, with the fact that the book is now out there for all and sundry to see, what is your hope with the book ultimately? We've spoken about it serving as a warning, but do you also want it to see, for example, helping other people to admit that they've got a problem, that they should start seeking help and perhaps maybe counsel others? What are some of the other long term visions?
long term, I would like to really go on a speaking tour all over the world.
Really?
I would like to speak to huge crowds anywhere, anytime, any place. That's what I want to do.
And you've got the talent for it, for storytelling. I'm telling it to you right in your face. And I'm not saying it because I've known you. And no, you've got the gift of the gab, certainly. And I think your writing voice has helped define that. Only because you've got a good editor, Rachel. But in any event.
It's true.
Well, honestly, that is one thing. Partially the reason for me even being the person to do the editing was maintaining his voice. Um, it 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 didn't need to be too polished to it needed to still sound like him at the end. Yes, I can add the commas, I can split sentences, I can divide paragraphs, create new chapters, do all the things, but at the end of it, it still needed to sound like him, not me, or not, as you referenced, the educated professionals.
Mm.
It needed to still sound like him. So hopefully that was accomplished.
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. And
Mhm.
even if it were worst case scenario, and I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, that it just goes a few copies, at least the exercise will have been worth it, and you have just paved another stretch of road to an even greater success. But we're trusting that this is going to be a bestseller because it's raw, it's gritty, and that's what people want, transparency. And I think you've given it to them wholesale.
Well, the feedback so far is they can't put it down.
Well, there it
That's
is.
that's what I've heard multiple times. And then a blank stare because they don't know what to say to me.
Well, I mean, look at that. Look at that sweet face. Look at that
It's a
sweet
lot to it's a lot to process.
Like, what the hell?
Guys, as we wind down, be really congratulations on this newfound success.
Thank you, brother.
May this book fly off the shelf. With your upcoming second book, all the blessed. And thank you for the life lessons that you've given me through the work that you do and the friendship that you've bestowed me. It's an honor, and I just don't have enough words in my vocabulary to show my gratitude. You're a man above many.
Well, man, thank you so much, and I really appreciate and respect and love the hell out of you, man. I there's few guys, that I really respect, like I do you,
Thanks,
and
my man.
I yes, and I when I see you online, it always brings a smile because I know you're doing big things and you're a man of integrity, and I respect that. So
Trying to.
it's always
Trying
my
to.
pleasure. for
And
sure.
you're more than a man than me and Rachel as well. It's a privilege to finally get to see you face to face, and you and I have had a good knee slapper or two on corresponding on social media. You're a bright mind, and my respect for you knows no bounds as well.
Thank you.
Folks, I also would like to invite you. The book is called Consumed Addiction's Appetite, once again available on Amazon.com. You're more than welcome to follow Brent Wright at Instagram as well as Facebook. Please get the book and read about this man's journey from darkness to light. And with that comes the show's end. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Chris Nell, Brent and Rachel Wright here across from me, reminding you that with the apex predator, you yourself can become an unbreakable mind, an unstoppable force, an untamed spirit, ultimately your very own army of one. We'll see you next time. Make it sting.